Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I am the health coach working with Dr. Haider to bring you this amazing long COVID recovery program. The first thing I would like to do is show you some testimonials of people who've gone through the program to see what they think of it.
First time in months and months and months that I felt like, oh my gosh, I got energy. I could actually do something like I was, where you felt like literally maybe I'm dying, I mean, because I did feel that way a lot, before. And whether you're at that extreme or if you're just, my gosh, I just want my life back. I'm tired of feeling tired, and you know what I mean? Just can't do what I used to do type thing. I mean, it's you just need the group. I just think you need the encouragement and the information. That's valuable information.
I benefited a lot from just participating in the calls and learning the information that was being talked about at that point. And then I did actually have a chance belatedly to go back, and I took some time and went through the material. I was able to cover most all the material that was there. So it was nice that I had, that period of time, the 8 weeks or whatever, to be able to do that.
So in this webinar, I'm going to cover our unique approach to long COVID recovery, what our program entails, who it's for, and how to access it. So please listen until the end to get all of that information. So to introduce Dr. Haider and introduce me, Dr. Haider began treating people quite early on during the COVID pandemic, and he developed his own holistic modality for treating long COVID after he actually suffered from it himself. So you can read or hear more about that here. So Dr. Haider and I were drawn to working together due to the holistic nature of my background as a nutritional therapy practitioner. So before studying as a nutritional therapy practitioner, I worked on a remote farm and a ranch actually in Argentina. And at this time, I became really familiar with the importance of organically grown foods, grass-fed animals, reconnecting to nature, the natural rhythms of the earth. And this type of kind of ancestral wisdom and reconnection is a huge inspiration for some of the material in this course. So I later went on to study holistic nutrition and lifestyle medicine, which gave me more of a clinical foundation to layer on top of that experience. And weaved in through that are, this exploration that I have through different movement practices, dance practices, and somatic mind-body practices. And these have proven to be quite useful and influential also in developing some of the content because, as many of you know, nervous system dysregulation is one of the driving features or one of the driving kind of mechanisms of long COVID. So rediscovering mind-body connection and being able to dial into what state our nervous system is in is a really key part of healing. So, what is long COVID to start with? So it's a complex and often chronic condition that's driven by different mechanisms such as immune system dysregulation, disruption of the microbiota, immunity, blood clotting, and sometimes neurological dysfunction. So each person has slightly different symptoms and presents in a different way. And oftentimes our prior pre-existing conditions can be exacerbated, and in some cases, just new symptoms will present. So in this program that we've developed, you would be working with our medical team, and they would be gathering information through questionnaires and comprehensive lab work to kind of determine what's driving your specific case of long COVID. Because, it could be that a number of things or a constellation of things are driving it. And through lab work and asking you questions, we'll be able to find out what that is, and you'll be able to tailor your recovery approach more specifically. So in the program, you'd have access to Dr. Haider's prescription protocol, the diet and supplement guide that he developed, and also the coaching platform, which is guided by me, and that will allow you to actually implement some of these changes along the way over time. So although some people heal entirely just using the prescription protocol and the supplements, there are some aspects of long COVID recovery that require more nuanced approach. So, I spoke a little bit about the nervous system regulation. There's no kind of pill or supplement that resets the nervous system. It's really a daily practice of lifestyle interventions such as cold exposure and breath work, movement practices that can really help to soothe and alleviate those symptoms. And this is where the coaching program comes in. So you're going to be provided with detailed information about what each intervention is, how to implement it, and then you'll receive real-time feedback during the calls, which are hosted by me. And not only feedback from me, but also, feedback from the people who are in the program with you, which is incredibly important because, it's one thing me hypothetically telling you all of these different things that we've discovered about long COVID and the mechanisms. And it's another actually getting a chance to go through the program with people who are going through the same thing. And they might say, oh, I tried this and it really worked, or I got this brand of this specific supplement and it was great for me, or, keep going with this because I only saw benefits after 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Having that real-time feedback from people who are going through the same thing is really invaluable. So I want to cover some of the common beliefs that some people have upon entering this recovery process. Now that we've been doing this for some time, we can see kind of patterns in people's mindset. And one really common approach that people have is with this idea that they will never recover. So a lot of people just think, it could be a personal belief, it could be a belief mediated by the mainstream medical establishment that they kind of just need to wait and see what happens, and they might just never recover. And there's nothing that they can really do about it. So this is a really important mindset shift to change, because mindset is something really, really important to kickstart the process and continue through the process, of course. And actually, at the beginning of the program, we show you many different studies where mindset really tangibly changes health outcomes, even in the case of things like surgeries or weight loss. It's really, really important and integral. So that is one common belief that we would like to dispel. Secondly is the belief that you can solely recover from medications and supplements. Although some people can, some people do just take the prescription protocol and they get better. Some people do the supplement and the prescription protocol and they get better. That is true. However, for many people, they really need a deeper intervention than just those things. And I think that maybe coming from the paradigm of Western medicine, there's this idea that that's very embedded, that, you're sick and you just take a pill and then you get better in a few days or a week. And it's quite difficult to make a shift out of that mindset. But that's really what's required in the case of a chronic condition, because it's characterized and driven by a constellation of different factors. So in order to overcome it, you need to address this constellation. It's not just that your recovery is behind one specific door that you're just going to open. Although that being said, that is the case for some people, that can happen. But it's important to realize that most commonly it's a constellation of different things. And this actually leads on to the next point, which is that a lot of people enter the program and they say, oh, I was fine, everything was fine, and then I got COVID, and everything just went wrong after that. And I was really ill and I had all these symptoms. And then actually, in actual fact, when we start digging a little bit more, this person maybe was working 80-hour work weeks. Maybe they had an autoimmune condition that they were actually on medication for. Maybe they were chronically sleep deprived. You know, and then we start to realize like that, oh, actually, you know, there were these red flags along the way. There were these little indications that maybe something wasn't right. Maybe the person had allergies or, you know, gut health issues, or they were just chronically sleep deprived and didn't really realize and notice the implications of that. And this is important to face because I think that this is really where the healing gets unlocked behind discovering, you know, what it is that you might have been doing for many, many, many years that has set you up to be in this situation, to be predisposed for something like long COVID. And for a lot of people, this can be a hard pill to swallow, and the exploration is something that they maybe have resistance to. But, you know, I really encourage people to do that because what's amazing is that if you're able to really face this and unlock all of these different things and go into this exploration and realize that maybe these and these different constellation of things, whether it's relationship or your relationship with food or your emotional relationships or with work, haven't been ideal, if you're able to address those, you know, you might find that after recovering from long COVID, your life is actually better than it even was before you got sick. And many people do actually find that because they do so much digging in this process of figuring out, you know, what the triggers were for the condition, that they're able to unlock a deeper and greater health than they even had before, which is quite amazing. So to introduce the offer, so what is this amazing offering? So the Phoenix program is an 8-week program. So each week we cover a new subject as it relates to long COVID. We start the program by introducing you to our labs, our long COVID labs, our supplement and prescription protocol. And you also have a chance to interact with the medical team and ask them any questions about, you know, the process, the ordering the labs, which labs you might need. We then move on to diet. We talk about which foods are anti-inflammatory, which are the best foods for healing according to your budget and according to the accessibility of certain foods, depending on where you live. We move on to digestion, which is really important because, as I said, one of the driving features of long COVID is disruption to the microbiota. So, you know, if people were predisposed for that anyway, because they had some kind of gut health issues or autoimmune related issues, then it's a really good idea to address digestion and really optimize that so that the food that you're actually eating to heal is being digested. We then move on to toxins, and toxins can appear, you know, in the form of certain types of foods like industrial seed oils and pesticides, also in water if you're drinking unfiltered tap water, but also the environment, you know, things like household products, skincare products, your sleep environment. There are many ways in which the toxic burden is really high in the modern world, and this is something that we need to address if we're going to create space for healing. Because ultimately, one thing that Dr. Haider says that's really true, which is that our body is always trying to heal itself. It's constantly in this process of trying to reach homeostasis, trying to reach balance, trying to heal. So the process of healing is more about removing the barriers to that than it is about layering things on. And of course, you know, the prescription protocol, the supplements, these changes, they seem as if they're layering new things on top of you. But really, the most important thing is to just remove every barrier that there is for your body to just naturally heal. So this is really what we like to focus on in the program. So the next thing that we focus on is movement, exercise. This is a huge one that many people fall down on, and actually many people enter the program because they tried to push themselves too soon. And this could be of their own volition. Say they decided to just train for a marathon before they were fully recovered from long COVID, or it can sometimes be, which is really unfortunate, under the guidance of a fitness professional or even a doctor that says, you know, you need to push yourself, you need to go to the gym, you need to start doing high intensity workouts. And then this preemptive stress on the body causes post-exertional malaise, which is really common in the case of other chronic conditions, such as chronic fatigue. And often this post-exertional malaise can actually set the person back and regress them even further back than where they started. And this is really unfortunate, and we do see this a lot. So, you know, trying to teach people what type of movement you can do and how to track your heart rate so that you stay within a certain range, a heart rate range that's actually going to rejuvenate your body rather than deplete it, is a really important feature of the recovery. Then next we talk about fasting. So fasting triggers autophagy, which is a natural self-preservation mechanism whereby the body removes damaged or dysfunctional parts of a cell. And again, this is, you know, a completely natural, accessible, free, and miraculous way that the body has innately in order to repair itself and instigate deep cellular repair. And many people don't really tap into this amazing mechanism because we in the modern world tend to eat really often. So many people might go for years and years where the only time they're fasting is when they're asleep. And at every other point, they're eating every couple of hours, which means that your digestion is always working, your digestive system is always under some kind of stress, and the body doesn't have a chance to really do anything else except focus on that. So we speak about, you know, how to introduce a fasting protocol, what the different protocols are, what windows of the day you should focus on fasting, and as well as the science behind how all of this works. So the last thing we talk about is nervous system regulation. Again, you know, I mentioned this before, this can be tricky for some people, you know, because maybe it's new and maybe it's something foreign, maybe you don't even believe that it's a real thing, even though it's been broadly studied at this point as one of the, you know, driving mechanisms of long COVID. And there are many proven practices that do help to regulate the nervous system and help switch you from this sympathetic to this parasympathetic or rest and digest state. Things like cold exposure, meditation, breath work, you know, all of these things are great. But it's also important to note that, you know, this is a nervous system state that you can access through your own modality. So this could be, you might find prayer or music or a hobby or something that you do that really helps to regulate the nervous system. And, you know, we'll give you certain tools that, you know, things like heart rate variability monitoring will give you tools to be able to analyze and discern when your nervous system is in a certain state or not. And if you're able to do that, you can create your own access points. You don't have to necessarily do meditation or breath work or any of the things that we suggest. It's about understanding the state and then trying to access it yourself. So who is this program for? It's really for anyone who is ready to heal from long COVID using a holistic and comprehensive approach. So if you're listening and any of this really piques your interest and you think, oh, wow, I'd love to explore this, or this is something that's missing from my life, this is something I could do, then, you know, you could be someone who would really benefit and enjoy from the program. And, you know, as I said previously, the approach of trying to find one door to open that will just magically make all the symptoms go away, this is definitely not the approach that we're looking for. And I think that, and it's not that, and I'm not saying this because, oh, this is, an easy way out or anything. It's that genuinely, going back to how the original mechanisms of what really drives long COVID and how complex it is. When the driving force of something is complex, then the solution also needs to be multifaceted and holistic. And we really would like people to join the program with that mindset and to have that approach in mind from the beginning. So the next cohort is going to be launching on Monday, July the 10th, and it will run for 8 weeks, and there will be a call every Friday, as usual, and that's when you will get to ask questions. You can sign up for the program at coach.mygootodoc.com/group. You can also find the link to sign up below this video. And thank you very much for listening, and thank you for your time. And I hope to see you soon on the program. Thanks very much.